So we thought it wise then, why not, to look back at the year 2015 for both Yaya Toure, club football that is, and for Aubameyang. And well, there you have it. Votes received, the numbers are pretty clear. Then it wasn't all a blowout for Aubameyang and beating Yaya Toure to the punch. But games played, he's played 8 more goals, he's scored 30 more. Keep in mind, we're talking about a deep-lying midfielder. We're not talking about a number 10 in the pocket behind the striker or something of that sort when we speak of Yaya Toure. Deep-lying midfielder. Assists, well, again, we have to consider the positions at which they're playing, and of course league position, which of course is in Yaya's favor. We've got one more page here, so stay with us as we move on. And looking back at the year 2015, and well, games played this year, it's well, Yaya that had more international games. Goals, well, Pia had 3. Yaya 1 as a deep-lying midfielder. One has to point out once again, and there you have it, assists. And now let's bring it to the Oracle and Wise Men, starting with Claudia. Claudia, your thoughts. It's not an easy debate, this. I feel it's one we had, and we were locked into at the end of last year, where we never really had a winner. No one left convinced.
For me, it's very easy. Yaya was robbed. And it actually reminded me of the Canute Award.
Yes.
I felt that he was robbed because if you look at Messi and Ronaldo, as much as they compete for the Ballon d'Or, you have to win at club level or the national level to actually, you know, justify your award.
Yeah.
But what has Pierre Aubameyang done?
He's been with a struggling team.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe underperformed more over the last year than in recent times. TK,
Yeah.
I was with you in 2006 in Egypt for the AFCON. I saw you in 2008 in Ghana for the AFCON. And 2010 as well. There was one player, Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Who won all of those AFCONs with Egypt. And at all those tournaments themselves, even all the players from Europe, I can't think of a player that played better than him in all 3 of those tournaments. Your thoughts? We're fighting for Yaya's cause now.
Yeah.
Then we should turn back the hands of time and start with Aubameyang. He should have won African Player of the Year at some point then.
Before Aubameyang, there was JJ Okocha. There was a
Standing
year,
before him,
absolutely,
yeah.
when JJ Okocha was simply on fire, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he helped Nigeria win the Olympic. They won the African Cup of Nations. But he was never credited for all those achievements, you know. And then Aubameyang, of course, we all
in a row.
Absolutely. We just
and
felt
the best player at each tournament, hands down.
We just felt something is just not right. How do you come to this conclusion? You know, is it because maybe Aubameyang played in Africa, and so the judges or whoever they are felt that if you play in Europe, automatically you qualify to be Footballer of the Year? That is a debate. But if you look at the votes, the coaches and the captains are the ones who voted for Pierre Aubameyang. That's the rules. The coaches across the continent
so it's the learned men of
cast their
football,
votes.
is what you say.
Now, having said that, I must add that I've been bitterly disappointed by Yaya Toure's reaction. Bitterly disappointed.
Yes.
You have to be humble. Aubameyang never ranted the way Yaya did. Yaya, in fact, after he commented that this is a shame about Africa, mind you, the same organization that voted him 4 times, he goes on and slammed them the way he did. He should have been humble. And when he said that, it reminded me when he threw tantrums after the club failed to recognize him for his birthday party.
The cake.
Yeah, for the birthday cake. And I lost respect for Yaya. He shouldn't have. Absolutely.
In looking at the argument here, you think of the 2006 FIFA World Cup. Italy won it. Cannavaro, I think the defender was. Yeah. The captain as well. He was named FIFA Footballer of the Year, I think, the next time around. And we all understood it was a World Cup year and he won the World Cup.
And he did very well at Juventus.
Stunning season, club level, stunning World Cup. Of course, and no one expected Italy to win it. But in Yaya, you've got a player, and the only African player in the final 23, I believe it was, for World Footballer of the Year. Now, if you're the only African at that number for World Footballer of the Year, the only one. What are we saying? You're good enough to be the best 23 in the world, but not good enough at the same time to be the best in Africa?
Well, let me start with Africa. You know, when I watched the Ballon d'Or in Zurich, and compared to when you see the number of the games those guys have played on a season in Europe, it's over 40, over 50.
Yes.
And in Africa, I just saw the statistics there. Aubameyang played for Africa 8 times. In Africa, 8 times. Yaya Toure 6 times. And those players, that's why I do have a problem. Why we call it CAF Awards? Because those players, they do most of the job outside of Africa. They don't do it in Africa. Let's call it best African players, not CAF. Don't put CAF name.
Oh, they don't play their club football within CAF. We hardly see them.
We don't see them in Africa. Why we call it CAF Awards? Why we call it CAF Awards? They play in Europe and they come to Africa to get the recognition.
You're saying rather
the last time that I've seen an African winning.
That's why we need Chan players to win it. Now you see. Chan must win it. Chan. You're not even a good
Now you know why we say Chan.
No, the last time.
But you are contradicting yourself.
No, no, we want
African player.
We want Chan is a more. If it is cup competitions, it is one of them. And if they can change it to under 23, yes, it will be part of it. The last time was in '86. '86, it was Baduzaki, the current Moroccan coach, who won the African Cup, African Player of the Year. The last time in Africa, '86. All those years, it's been people playing outside, and they call it.
Hold on. Let me get the pastor's thoughts here. Pastor, we have to get your thoughts on this. You were very staunch and you believed in your thoughts, and you called it at the end of last year in Aubameyang.
Yes.
Let's get your thoughts.
I called Aubameyang. Now, the issue why I said Aubameyang, I looked at as per player. Okay? I know he's done well for Man City. He's done well for Ivory Coast. But player. The level of Aubameyang's growth was phenomenal. Aubameyang as a person, maybe his club wasn't doing well, as from country wasn't doing well, but if we say African player, now we're not saying African team of the year, we're saying as an individual player, I could match Aubameyang with Yaya. Based on that. Now all we're saying is that the Ivory Coast won this. It's Ivory Coast that won it. We're saying Man City did this. It's Man City that did it. But if we look apples for apple, we say last year, Aubameyang did enough as an individual player to warranty called an African Player of the Year. Based on that, all we're saying he won Ivorian days. He wasn't the only one that won it. But as an individual, Aubameyang stood up.
Football is a team.
But they gave team of the year. Who was team of the year? Ivory Coast. Finish. That has been settled. Team of the year. Individual player is no longer. When George Weah won it, everyone knew as at that time, George Weah was the best player in Africa, was the best player in the world. They did not consider his national team. Remember? So they looked at him as an individual. When you look at Ronaldo and Messi, both these teams they've not won anything for the national teams. But based on one-on-one player, you would give it.
And then you should have given it to Yaya, to Abedi.
I think.
Yes, and Abutrika and very many others. And on that, Semi Kufo, and that list is endless. Some will even argue Penny McCarthy, JJ Okocha. And we'd like to thank, of course.